As some of you may already know, I lost my job early March. And this is the first time in my career I had to sit with the words, I am unemployed. And trust me, that's a very strange feeling. One day, your calendar is full, you're in meetings, you're making decisions, you're planning work, and you feel like you're needed. The next day, your calendar is empty and your brain goes, okay, now what? So in this video, I want to talk to you about how my job search is going. This is not going to be a polished LinkedIn version where I say I applied for X number of jobs and I manifested my dream role. No, that has not happened. This is going to be the unfiltered version as always. Let's talk about how I or we prepared financially, how I've prepared mentally, what my days look like these days. Also, a few things that I've learned along the way in this job search that may help someone who is on a similar boat, or if you want to be prepared just in case, these could help you. So let's get into it. Before we get into it, I want to provide a bit of a context. So I was already in a senior leadership type role. Before we get into it, I want to provide a bit of a context. So I was already in a senior leadership type role in the quality and technology space. So when I have started looking for a job after my redundancy, I wasn't looking for any role. I was looking for the right next chapter. And that makes the job search a little bit different and a little difficult as well. So when you're early in your career, your goal can sometimes be get something, get experience and move on. But when you've built a certain level of experience, you start thinking about fit, scope, salary, flexibility, culture, and whether the role itself makes sense as the right next chapter for you. And that is easier said than done. Now that you have the context, let's get into the details of the video. As always, I've broken down into several parts. The first one is financial preparation. The first thing after I was made redundant was to look at our finances. Not in a very vague, we spend X amount of dollars per month kind of way, but more into the details of it. What are our fixed expenses? What can we live without? What subscriptions can go out? How much investments do we have? How much savings do we have? What is our runway like? How long can we survive if one salary is paused for a period? So look into the finances in a very detailed manner. Because when a job loss happens, emotions are already very high. And the last thing you want to do is keep thinking about finances while also refreshing Seek, LinkedIn, and your email every 5 minutes. For us, having a financial buffer made a difference. It did not remove the stress. Let me be very clear. Money buffer doesn't magically make the redundancy peaceful, but it gives you an opportunity to say no to the first thing that comes along if it's not the right fit. And that is a big thing, because I did get lowball conversations. I did get lowball roles where the scope and the salary did not make sense for my experience, and I was able to say no to those roles instead of forcing myself to entertain everything. I understand that this is coming out of privilege, and for me, that is what financial planning is about. It is not just wealth building, but it is also about preparing yourself to have a little bit of breathing room when things go south in life. So the key takeaway here is, if you are currently employed, this is your reminder to have an emergency buffer in case things go south. Even a few months of expenses can change the quality of decisions you make during a job search. Now let's talk about the mental side. The mental side is honestly harder than I expected. I've worked for years. I've worked in different companies, different roles, changed teams, changed team structure, did some stressful job, had very difficult teammates, so on and so forth. But that doesn't come close to what it does mentally when you are made redundant. Even though people say don't take it personally, you tend to take it personally. Even when you logically know that this is a business decision and it's not based on performance, you tend to question all of it. It feels personal for a while. So for me, I was okay for the first 2 weeks, but when it came to the third week, it started hitting hard. Only because the jobs that I had applied in the first couple of weeks, nobody got back. There was like a lot of ghosting, or it wasn't moving anywhere, and all of it was emotionally draining from it. I would pick myself up at one point, and then I would update my CV, talk to recruiters, apply more jobs, only to get disappointed again. Also, job search has a lot of waiting these days. You apply, you wait. You reach out to a recruiter, you wait. You think that this is the best fit and I might definitely get a shot at this. So you apply the role and you wait. Only to realize that the same role would get reposted after a couple of weeks and you would have not even got a rejection email. And you sit there wondering what the heck is happening here. Excuse my language. But yeah, and you sit there wondering what the heck is happening here. It is emotionally draining. And this is the mental side of it. Now let's talk about how it affects the social life, both online and offline. I'm a selectively extroverted person. I like people. I genuinely do, and I like to have good conversations with people. But when I'm going through something, I can't be present all the time. I need my own quiet time to be able to function well, and I've always been like this. Maybe it is something of being an only daughter or something like that. I don't know, but I function well. I tend to think well only when I am in my own zone and I need my quiet for that. I usually think a lot before I speak. So if I'm in a social gathering when my mental side of thing has been thinking through something else, my performance goes down. I can't function. So I decided not to show up in a lot of things. I'm not being antisocial. I'm just being selectively social to protect my energy for what mattered the most. Now coming to the online side of things, I decided to take a break from posting in Instagram or YouTube for about 3 weeks or so. I did post an update saying, hey, you know what, so and so has happened, and that's about it. I didn't post regularly because posting regularly also means you have to be present, you have to reply to comments, and you have to engage the audience. Because if you have already seen both on my Instagram or YouTube, I tend to reply as many comments as possible and I tend to reply as many DMs as possible. So I want to be that person, and in case if I keep posting and just shut off, I can't be that. I can't reply that. So I didn't want that to happen. And that's why I decided to take a break from Instagram and YouTube for about 3 weeks or so. After about 3 weeks, I came back and I started posting again. In that 3 weeks, I had time to recharge, think through things, and come back stronger with how I want to show myself online. And some good things happened after I showed up online. There were a lot of people who started telling me stories about their redundancy, how it turned for better, or people that are going through similar things. There were so many girls who messaged me what happened to them. Some of them were taken to court and whatnot. So looking at those stories, hearing those stories made me feel like I'm not the only person, and I was able to relate to it, and it gave me a fresh perspective on life as well. So having that break was essential for my own sanity, but coming back and sharing my story was also helpful for me. So I was able to relate, and I was also able to share my story with people. And not just that, there were a few of you who said that you guys can refer me to some of the recruiters, or you can also refer me for some of the job openings in your own companies and whatnot. But the industry being the way it is, there were not a lot of job openings, and we couldn't get into anything concrete just yet. But this is how the mental picture is. And for someone who is selectively extroverted, let's call it that, I needed a bit of a downtime, or I still need downtime in my day-to-day life before I can start showing up online. Now, to summarize it all, job search requires you also to be available externally. Like you're talking to recruiters more than required. You're making conversations with a lot of people. While you're doing that, you can't also necessarily talk to your friends or your family or your social circle like your Instagrams or YouTube and all that. That would be a lot of talking for someone like me. So I had to protect some energy inwards, and that is how I balanced my mental state. The next section is getting clear on the right role. Once you have made redundant, you start searching for all the jobs that is similar to what you have already done. And it could be in so many different titles: head of delivery, engineering manager, this, that, practice manager, chapter lead, so on and so forth. And suddenly you realize that there are so many tabs open and a lot of the roles doesn't feel right for you. So I had to pause and think for myself a few things. Do I want to work for larger company, or do I want to work for smaller company? Do I want to be hands-on, hands-off, lead teams, not lead teams? Do I want to be an individual contributor? This, that. So I had to think of a lot of things before I arrive at what my next chapter has to be, given the circumstances that is today with AI and all that. For me personally, I like to go in teams where there is a bit of a mess and I can untangle the mess and bring some structure to it. I like to be hands-on as much as possible as well. So I had to figure out what exactly I wanted before I start applying for every other thing that I would see there. I like to help teams move faster with better confidence, coaching teams, and also helping with faster delivery. I embrace chaos and look into bringing structure into the team. This is how I am in my life as well. I like to bring structure in everything I do, and I think I enjoy that kind of things as well at work. So whilst searching job, I didn't want to go backwards because I was scared. And this has been one of the hardest parts, knowing when to be flexible and when to hold your line. Because in this market, yes, you need to be practical, but you also need to know your value. So when an interview opportunity comes, you can tell them of your strengths and where you can add value in the delivery process. The next section is networking, and let me be honest with you, I didn't expect my network to be as helpful as they are. So as soon as I was made redundant or I got the news, I reached out to a lot of my ex-colleagues, ex-managers, recruiters, people I've worked in the past, and I've told them this was happening, and a lot of them encouraged me to look for jobs in their own companies, the current companies that they are working for, or they were going to help me in the job search journey. One of my ex-managers also helped in reviewing the CV and helping me determine what kind of role I should be doing next, which was really kind and sweet of him. And then a few other recruiters have been pushing my profile with a lot of different companies, knowing where my strengths are and trying to see if they can create an opportunity in those companies for me. Once again, all of this has been helping me mentally to see that this is going somewhere. Instead of me sitting idly and holding myself back, networking has been helping me. And I have a few ex-colleagues who message me some jobs and tell me, hey, I think this would be a good fit for you, look into it, kind of thing. And all of that matters. To me, networking doesn't necessarily mean that someone is going to hand you the job. It just means that you are reminding your friends or your ex-colleagues, your ex-managers, you're reminding them of the work you do and letting them know that you are available. The next section is, how is my job search going? So how is my job search going? Honestly, mixed. I'll tell you what I do. If I feel like I am a perfect match or close to perfect match, about 75-80%, I tailor my resume as well as I write a cover letter. So I tailor my resume to match the job and I apply for that job. I also write a cover letter. Do not use ChatGPT or anything like that. I write it on my own, explaining how I would be the best fit for that role, as well as the impact that I've created in my previous organizations or previous projects and what I can bring to the table should they give me an opportunity to come and work for them. So that's how I tailor my cover letter as well. And I hope this tip is useful for you if you're not already doing that. Yes, once I have a rough idea, I would use Grammarly or ChatGPT or something to tidy it up. But no, I don't let ChatGPT write it for me because I know my experience and my strengths and the impact that I created. ChatGPT is not going to know the impact that I created at XYZ company. So I apply that. I tailor my resume, I write a cover letter, and I apply for a role and I wait for feedback. To be very honest, I've gotten very few rejections. A lot of the times it has been quiet, it has been no show. As I touched on a little earlier, I can see that I haven't gotten a rejection for a job that I applied for, but the job was reposted like 2 weeks ago or something like that. I'm thinking, oh, but I applied this like maybe 4 weeks ago. You didn't even reject me, but you're reposting it. That is the story of job market today. And then there was this other interesting thing that happened. A very big tech company in Australia, let's say a home brand company. So they scheduled an interview on a specific day, but the interviewer was sick on that day. And they asked me to reschedule it to the following Friday. So I rescheduled it to following Friday, but that morning, just before the interview, they said that the role was put on hold. So there are things like that happening also. And then there are instances where you talk to the recruiter recruiter, but recruiter, and then the recruiter lets you talk to the company, you have interview with the company, and then they ghost you altogether. And you're sitting there thinking what has happened. You reach out to the recruiter also ghosts you. I think they've ghosted me. I don't know what's happening. So this is the plight of job market for someone who has about 14 plus years of experience. Now, this is all about the job search itself. Whilst all of this is happening, I'm not losing hope. I'm still very optimistic and very hopeful that the right thing will happen. It is just not my time yet, and I'm sure there is going to be my time, and it is going to be a wonderful time because I'm naturally a very optimistic person as well. So that's in terms of job search. The next is the salary side of things. Because I was already on a seniorish role, I didn't want to compromise a lot on salaries. There has been some offers that has been like offers as in when they tell you, when a recruiter reaches out, I would ask, hey, how much are they willing to offer for this role? And if it is below a certain level, I'm not entertaining that. Not because I feel like I'm beneath work or something like that, or I'm overwork or whatever. I'm not thinking like that. I know that even if I join there, I'd be looking for job again because I'd feel like I'm underutilized and I'll be frustrated. And I don't want all of this to happen again. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I have a bit of a buffer and I know how long I can go for. And that lets me plan things accordingly. So there are two things that I'm trying to balance. Yes, I want to be flexible in this market in terms of job itself, but I also want to ensure that I'm not as flexible that I entertain or go on a job that I'm not prepared for to accept salary wise. And I want to make sure the company also values my value that I bring to the table. It's a hard thing to balance, but I'm trying to balance and I'm hopeful eventually things will click. The next section is what my day actually looks like now. When you don't have a job, it's possible that a lot of the people might think, oh, you have endless free time because your calendar is free. That is not really true, at least in my case. Even though your calendar is free, your mind is not as free to entertain other things. Let's talk about what my day looks like. I start off my day. A lot of the days Karthik goes to work, so I send him off to work if he's going to work. Even if he doesn't go to work, he has to start work and all that. So we get ready, we do our morning coffee, whatnot, and then he starts his work. I'd make a breakfast, and then after breakfast, there's a chunk of time where I'd sit in front of my computer, look for jobs, talk to recruiters, messages, calls, whatever needs to be happening, I'd do that. I'd tailor my CV, tailor my cover letter, so on and so forth, and I do that in that block of time. And then there is lunch. I have my lunch, proper lunch, not sitting at the desk. Most of the times I'd sit in my dining room and enjoy my lunch, savor every bite of it. You all know how much I love food, so I'll do that. And then in the afternoon, if required, I'd apply for more jobs or I'd do a bit more study. If there were no jobs to apply for, I would study in the morning. Now that study can be anything. I would look into some AI, I would look into some programming language, I'd do like a pet project. If I have nothing job related to do, I'd start thinking about content creation or anything like that. So I would do that in either in the afternoon chunk of time, or if there's no jobs to apply, I would do that in the morning after breakfast as well. So once I've done that, I would take some time to go for a walk or do some exercise at home. Remember, we talked about financial planning. At that point, when we decided, like when I lost my job, around the same time, our gym membership was also ending. So I didn't extend the gym membership. Decided to work out from home, and that is $200 savings for us. So I do workouts from home. I just watch YouTube, as in workout videos on YouTube, and I play along and I work out at home. I tend to do that 4 to 5 times a week at home, or we'd also go for a walk or do a bit of both. So some workouts and some walk. So this usually happens in the evening around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then after that, I spend time with my husband. We cook together or we just chill. We plan content. We plan our life or finances, so on and so forth. Just like life admin things. Between all of this, if I don't want to apply for a job on a certain day, or if there's nothing happening, I like doing grounding things like spending a bit more time cooking or spending a bit more time gardening, because I love my garden and I like when it is lush green, when you wake up and see lush green, and when you grow your own vegetables and fruits. I like that. Like the process of it feels like a new life is emerging and a new hope is coming. So I like all of it. So I enjoy those things. I savor those things. So it's not necessary that every single day I have to sit and apply job. In the initial days, Marchish, when I was starting to look for job, when I would do that, I'd feel guilty. But today I don't feel guilty. I feel better after I've done that and come back and start applying jobs. If there's a new job that has come up, I might apply at that point. So I don't feel guilty anymore. I guess I've evolved and that panic has gone and I'm in a stable state of mind mind where I know applying a job instantly is not going to get you anything. It just needs to be relevant for you, even if you're going to apply it, let's say 12 hours later or 48 hours later. It's still in the first few applications. It's just not the very first application. But back around March, I would be like, I'll keep refreshing the screen, and if there's a new job posted, I'd be almost instantly applying for that job. I don't do that anymore. I make sure there's also a life outside work, and I want to embrace that while I'm still in this pursuit of job search. Now, here's what I would tell anyone that's job searching. Know your numbers, like real numbers. Cut your expenses. Update your resume, tailor your resume and cover letter per job as much as possible. Build your network before you even need it. Protect your energy, both online and offline. If you're someone like me, job search consumes a lot of energy. You talk to a lot of people and you may not be available, or there may not be as much fuel in your tank to be able to socialize. So protect your energy. Think where your energy matters the most. Do not let job search become your whole personality. I know the time, the day or the month or the week that you get made redundant or you lose your job, you would be obsessively just applying for job. But realize that there is life outside job. You still have to eat, you still have to cook, you still have to look after your family, you have to be present for your family. So don't make job search your entire personality. And lastly, be flexible but also know your value. Think about your strengths, think about what you can bring to the table, and be flexible but do not erase your value. So that is where I am right now. I'm still applying, I'm still having conversations, but I know what I wanted, and I'm also prepared to be flexible where I have to be. Some days I'm very calm and practical. The other days I'm already thinking, can the universe move along? Can we fast forward to the day I already get an offer and I start a job? I have both my ups and downs, but I am trying to treat this season more than just a job search. I'm trying to think what I want to do next and be clear on those things. If you are in a similar season as me, I hope this video is helpful for you. I hope you can relate a few things, and I hope this made you feel a little less alone. And if you're currently employed, maybe take this as a gentle reminder from me when things are still okay. Update your resume, build your network before you even need it. Have some money buffer because you never know when things go south and you want to be prepared for it. And that's it from me today. If you have been in this job search for a while, let me know what's helping you. I hope those things also help me. And let me know what I should be doing differently as well. And if you are job searching, I hope something good comes along for you. I'll see you in another one. Bye.